Welcome to my Google Meets Part 2, where I show you how to play Kahoots with your students in Columbia Homeroom. And you can do this in a specific Google Meet session, or you could even do this during class so they can play with all of their classmates. So to do this, what you want to do is first make some sort of announcement to your students, letting them know that you're going to be having this Kahoot. This is just an idea for how you might, you could phrase it to meet on this day at this time for a Kahoot study session, and you can also get information from Kahoot after the game is over, where it'll tell you, their scores and you can use that for a grade, and that's for all students, even if they didn't make it onto the leaderboard. And then you might want to also mention something about how their Kahoot name should be just like their first name and last initial only. You don't want to have a bunch of weird random names for a few reasons. One, because a lot of times they like to do inappropriate names, and you have to waste time like deleting them, and of course they're not there, so you can't, it's just frustrating and causes just a delay takes up a little bit of the time that you have to be with your kids and play this game. So first and last initial only, inappropriate names will be deleted, and you'll get a 0 for the assignment. So just let them know that you're not messing around with this. And then I would also add a link, and you can like click and drag, but as you can see, sometimes I have some issues with doing that, and if I click on it just the wrong way, it'll actually open the meetup, and like I'm clicking on the link. You can copy the link address like that, and it should work, but it doesn't quite look the same, so I don't really usually use that because it's not. I think if you'd have to like go back, to here and then like delete the rest of it for it to be the actual link. So you can do that. I think that should work. Or you can go to the settings and you can just scroll down to the link here and click on it and copy the link. So whichever way you prefer to do, it's technically a little bit simpler to do it that way, just because you do have to pay attention to what the Meet link is and delete the extra little stuff at the end. Which it still showed up anyway, but hopefully it works. And then after I do that, before I post it, I would select only the students that are in Columbia Homeroom for this to see this announcement. So I'm going to go ahead and select Kayla Knight, and then I'm going to post this. So now Kayla is the only student who's going to see this. None of my other students will see this post, and that's a really useful tool in Google if you're not aware of it yet. To just send things to those Columbia Homeroom students within, the classroom where all of the other in-person students are as well. And now that I have my announcement done, we're going to kind of fast forward, pretend that it's the day and the time of the Kahoot study session. Before you get on there with the students, you want to go to kahoot.com. If you don't already have an account, go ahead and make yourself an account. Super easy. It's free. Kahoots are a lot of fun. This video is probably going to appeal to people who already use Kahoots all the time, and they're probably mourning the loss of Kahoots and thinking that they might not be able to do them with their students because of all of this distance learning. But that isn't true. You can still do Kahoots. So, of course, we go over here to play. Now, this is a Kahoot that I wrote, but beware that there are a lot of pre-made Kahoots, and so you always want to make sure that you kind of check everything, make sure that all the answers are, what you want them to be, and all that before you start playing, because sometimes they're a little bit wonky. They look good at first, but then they're actually a little wonky, and you have to be like, I didn't write this, so I'm not taking credit for this. All right, so play and teach. All right, so there are some settings here. This one is the friendly nickname generator, because you already have told your students to use their first name and last initial because you want to actually give them a grade for this. You probably wouldn't want to use that, but if you just want to do it for fun and it's not for a grade, you can always do the friendly nickname generator. It saves a little bit of time. Students don't, spend a bunch of time making up names, deal with the inappropriate names, and it just puts together randomly a color and an animal. So like yellow owl or purple T-Rex or something like that. So you can also, pick different lobby music. You can randomize the order of questions, which I really like to do for most of my Kahoots. Sometimes I want my Kahoots to be in a certain order, so I don't do that. But if you already have it selected from doing it previously, it will automatically keep it selected. So always just check these settings before you get started. You can also randomize the order of answers, so it's not always the same. This is great for if you're doing multiple rounds with the same Kahoot, like if you're doing a study session and you want to do it 2 or 3 times so that they really, have it good, in their mind before they have to take some sort of assessment. Then we have the 2-step join. This one I always put on. And what this does is it prevents students who fancy themselves as hackers, and they like to program these like bots, and they just flood the Kahoot sign-on page with just thousands and thousands of these bots, and it's crazy and chaos. It ruins a Kahoot game. It ruins it for everybody. And the kids who do it think it's absolutely hilarious, and they think they're just brilliant. So, actually you can go to YouTube in about 30 seconds, you search, hacking Kahoot with bots, and it tells you how to do it. It's pretty easy, but it's also pretty easy to thwart that and just do the 2-step join. They have to do this little, puzzle thing, and, bots can't do that. So it prevents that from happening. So we have classic is what you want to select when you're ready, and ready to join. My jam, the Kahoot song. All right, sorry. I really love the Kahoot song. Okay, so then your students would sign in and join. So here you can see that it gives them this little pattern, and it changes every 7 seconds, so they have to punch that pattern in just right on time before it switches. And sometimes they get frustrated because it switches before they can do it, but eventually they get it. So I'm going to go ahead and wait for my student to sign on to Google Meets. So I'm going to have to go open up that Meets and join it myself as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on my class link. And I'm going to join now. All right, remember this is just information for you to copy if you need to, or add people if you need to, but it's not super important. Okay, so the computer's a little wonky there. Okay. Alrighty, so I'm actually going to have to coordinate this with Miss Knight, so I'm going to go ahead and pause for a moment while she gets in. I will say before I do that once your students get in and before you start the Kahoot, I would highly recommend asking them to turn off their cameras and also turn off their microphones. So it should just be a bunch of blank screens with like their initial in the center of it, just like it would be in our faculty meeting. If their mics are turned off, then everybody's not distracted. Although, I mean, that's a personal choice. If you want the mics on, then that's fine, because it does kind of stimulate, what it's like to be in class. And when you're in class, everyone's playing a Kahoot, they're having fun, and they're hooping and hollering and being competitive. And, that's kind of part of the fun of Kahoot. So if you still want to preserve that, then you can totally have their mics on. However, if they are in the same house, like if they're siblings or they live together for some reason, that can cause some like feedback, which is really distracting and really loud and makes things hard to hear. So that's something to consider. If that does happen, that could be the reason why it's happening. But I do think that everyone should turn their camera off, because you don't really want them to be, not just watching what each other is answering, but also, they might goof off to each other and end up paying attention to each other on the cameras more than they would be paying attention to the game. So I would tell them to turn their camera off. So I'm going to go ahead and pause, and I'll be back when Kayla is in the Google Meets. Okay, so my student is here, and what I need to do now is share my screen with my students. So, all right. Students, we are about to start our Kahoot, so go ahead and get ready, and remember that your username should be your first name and your last initial only, and make sure that you turn off your microphone and your camera while we are doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and present the screen now. Because I have it up here in my tabs, I'm just going to select a Chrome tab, and then I'm going to select, I believe it's this one, and share. Oops, nope, it's the wrong one. And you can tell because it has a box on it. That's how you know which of your tabs or which one is actually being cast right now. So I do need to go back and fix that and stop presenting. And now I'm going to present again, Chrome tab, and it is apparently share. There we go. Okay, I am going to mute the Kahoot because it is wonky. Okay. Alrighty, so we're pretty much ready to go. On her end, she is signing in. I'm actually going to show you what she's seeing. So this is what she sees, and then we'll be able to see here in just a moment whenever she logs on, and I will know that we're ready to go. And you'll notice that I have this tab here. When I click off of the tab, she still can, the Meet is still open. The only way that closes is if you press the X, and even if that does happen and you close the Meet out, you can jump right back in. You'll have to share your screen again and kind of start all that from, all over, but you can jump in and she'll just, still be in the Meet. All right. There she is. Alrighty. So now I am ready to start. Shakespeare quiz. Alright, and so here she's, just gonna see this question, and then on her end she'll choose the answer. Alright. I would hope that Miss Knight would get this correct. Okie dokes. So, we'll do one more question just for fun. What is the name of this building? The Sphere Theater, the Globe Theater, the Circular Theater, the Orb Theater, the Globe Theater. Yay! Okay, what you see here is the student side of things. What Kayla's doing is she's splitting her screen. We decided to do it like this because I could film it so you could see both sides of what the student is doing and what they're looking at. But what they could actually do, what most of them would probably do, is use their phones. So they would just see the Google Meets, and then the right half would actually be what they would be doing on their phones. Top of the leaderboard. All right, and that's really pretty much it. It's simple, pretty easy to do. You can still have fun with your students even though they're in Columbia homeroom. And I'm going to go ahead and stop presenting here. Special thank you to Miss Knight for helping me out with this. All right. Peace. You can go ahead and log off. Hopefully this is helpful to you guys, and it allows you to still have a lot of fun this year. And thank you for watching, and have a beautiful day. And happy Kahooting.